And we are live. How's it going, everybody? Can y'all see me and can y'all hear me? So, it is the day before things start to happen. And I thought it was time we would pick up where we left off with the streams. Been a little while. I've been keeping it pretty chill with the streams during the off season for the most part after the draft. Uh, but it's time. It is time now. Training camp people showed up today and they're going to start working on the field tomorrow. So it's time to get into it. And we do have some news today. We have some items of news, some interesting items. The and we'll definitely get into that during the stream. Now, the stream I plan on running for about an hour. Let me go ahead and share out the fact that we are now streaming. So let's do that. Let's send it out to Twitter. All right, let's round them up. Let's round the crew up. So, plan is to stream for about an hour. If we need to, we can go a little longer, but I think we're going to go about an hour. And this will become a more routine thing as more things start happening that are worth discussing. So, I hope everyone's doing pretty good tonight. We've got some Seahawks news for the first time in a while. The main item has to be the fact that after a long off season where we didn't know what we were going to do, Chris Carson has retired from the NFL. He could not pass his physical, so he has been, well, not released, but he's now retired. If he were to have a miraculous recovery, I guess he would just come back to the Seahawks, but I think we all know that's not. So Chris Carson's career is now over. Overall, the story's a little tragic because he was a really good player, but he didn't fit the offense very well. He was probably not what he used to be. And I think at the end of the day, this is best for everyone involved, especially him. So I'm not going to say I'm happy that Carson's career has been cut short, but I am happy that now that we're here, he has decided to do this, and the team has decided to do this too, because obviously it took two to tango there. Mass Temple asked, do you think we will bring in a power back to replace Carson like USFL champ Bo Scarborough? I was thinking about that earlier today, how we don't have a power back. We do not have a power back on this roster. Not really, anyway. Like, Travis Homer bulks up every offseason, so maybe he can get there, but I don't know if I even want him to. I want him to just be a third down back. So, logically speaking, we need somebody. I don't think Josh Johnson can be a power back. I'd say maybe we're not that worried about having a power back, but it's Carroll. And even the Rams with McVay have generally always had at least one power back. So that's actually probably a pretty good idea. It probably makes a lot of sense for us to get somebody who can be a decent power back. There we go. Yeah, but I'm hoping it can be somebody in house who's a little more exciting, intriguing. Josh Johnson. I don't think DJ Dallas is ever going to be a power back. That's clearly not his game. That's kind of why I wish we got Abram Smith in the draft. He was my favorite, like, fifth round ish power back. Who took Abram Smith, by the way? I actually totally forget. The Baylor guy who played linebacker and running back. But anyway, that's the biggest story of the day. Wish Chris nothing but the best. He was a great addition to our squad in his prime. Yeah, definitely. Alex Collins is Alex. I never thought of Alex Collins as a power back. He's like a vision back. Alex Collins isn't bad. I wouldn't hate bringing him in, but I don't know if I consider Alex Collins to really be a power back. We're looking for a guy who can pick us up on, third and two, fourth and one, third and one, third and inches, fourth and inches. Audio cutting out for Brando, is that happening for anyone else? It's not happening in my app. And it doesn't seem like anybody else is mentioning it. So what would you call our backs now? I I don't know what I would call them. They got to earn a nickname if that's what you're talking about. But you've got Penny, you've got Walker, you've got Homer as a third down back. I'm pretty happy with that. Everything else is just a bonus. Was watching some Walker the third pre-draft analyst stuff, and someone called Walker a really good power back. Not sure how they got to that conclusion, but maybe I missed something. Well, he's got a lot of things, Alex. He's got power, speed, agility. Walker kind of has everything except the ability to pass block, and maybe he's not a great receiver, but that might just be an opportunity thing. So Walker can kind of do it all, but you don't necessarily want a guy doing it all as a running back, right? You don't want a guy who's going to be early down, third down, long yardage, short yardage, goal line. You don't want one running back doing it all. So if you're going to be using Walker in certain roles that aren't power back, you don't want him to do and power back, but maybe we end up utilizing him as our power back this year because Penny's going to be the early down back. That's very possible too. But I don't view him as a pure power back, at least. Like I said, there are power backs available in every draft. Maybe next year we go get one. My guy in the last draft that I really liked was Abram Smith. But didn't happen. But anyway, the point of this conversation is that Chris Carson has retired. I think we save a little bit of money, but that doesn't really matter. It's not enough money to make any kind of a difference, and this is not a year where we're going to be going up against the cap anyway. So, obviously, the contract extension is a mistake in hindsight. So, that's unfortunate because it was a pretty reasonable deal, and I remember thinking to myself, as long as the worst case scenario doesn't play out, we're going to be happy about this extension, but the worst case scenario happened. Do you envision a season of Marty Ball with Drew Lock? Yeah, I don't think that's an unreasonable. Your 90-50-10 prediction for preseason games and training camp. Like things you think will happen with 90-50-10% likeliness can be good, bad, and everything in between. Okay. 90% Rashad Penny will be the starting running back week 1. 50% Drew Lock will be the starting quarterback week 1. 10% DK Metcalf will be a Dallas Cowboy. I don't know, something like that. Okay, the other things that are happening today, a little smaller, but consequential nonetheless. DK Metcalf has shown up to training camp. So, whatever it was that kept him from OTAs, he's past it now. And we are also hearing the team is about to come to an agreement with him. It sounds like they're days away. And at this point, they need to be days away because training camp starts tomorrow. And we don't want him missing time. So, I think that what we are looking at here is just a matter of days before Metcalf is locked up long term. So that's, I'm going to call that good news. Not everybody's going to agree with that, but I think he's good enough to justify the payday that's coming his way. We also got some word about another injury-related release in the form of Ben Burkervin. He has been released from the Seattle Seahawks. He is trying to rehab from an injury he suffered last year in the preseason. And apparently it's not going well because he failed a physical. If he clears waivers, which I think is likely because BBK hasn't done very much in the NFL, he will go on our injured reserve, meaning that we can presumably reactivate him later in the year or maybe next year. So Ben Burkervin was unlikely to play a significant role on this defense, but he was probably going to be next man up in the event of an injury or two. He does clear the way for Vi Jones to make the team. And also maybe Lakiem Williams, maybe Aaron Donkor, although in his case I doubt it because he has the free practice squad spot. And It's also going to have an effect on special teams because BBK was a pretty good special teams player. So that does carry some negative ramifications. John Radigan, another linebacker who could have competed for BBK's snaps, whatever little snaps he could have gotten, is also on the PUP. Now, the PUP list doesn't necessarily mean anything yet. You can be on the PUP list and still end up playing week one, especially at this point when we're not even at the preseason yet. But it does indicate the possibility that John Radigan won't be available at first. How much do you think DK Metcalf is worth? I'm willing to give him like 4 years, 104, 106 million, somewhere in there. So 26 per approximately. Maybe we could have gotten away with a little bit less if we did it a few months ago, but I'm also not worried about a few million at the end when it comes to a player like this. A few million becomes a problem with a mid-level or low-level player. When it comes to players who have made the All-Pro team, had 3,000 receiving yards in 3 years, I don't care if you overpay them a little bit. You can't overpay them a lot, but you can overpay them a little bit, and it's not a big deal. So that's basically what's going on right now. Trey Brown is the only other notable Seahawk who is currently on the PUP list. So the PUP list is actually pretty vacant for the Seahawks. Marquise Blair and Gabe Jackson are not on it, meaning they can play. Presumably, it means that if there was a game tomorrow, they would be playing in it. So I consider that to be promising. The only guy who really matters, who's going to miss significant time to start training camp, is Trey Brown, which I think we all expected. The Seahawks also had some assorted tryouts today, some USFL players. I don't, I don't think that. Well, shoot, what was I? How do I put this? I lost my. Oh, I don't think any of them have a great chance of actually making the roster. I think that's a long shot. We do need a linebacker. We do need a backup linebacker now that BBK's out of the picture. However, it doesn't really matter that much, does it? Because it's not like BBK was doing much of anything. So even if you get somebody worse than BBK, you're not really going to notice that much. Well, to be fair with Metcalf, he's going to be doing a lot of work because of no matter who his QB is, he has to compensate for their potato-ness. Well, oftentimes we see receivers not really lose that much production when they're playing with a lesser quarterback. Like, we've seen receivers, when they play with a bad quarterback, sometimes the bad quarterback just targets them over and over and over and over again, and they still get their catches, still get their numbers. Their efficiency goes down. That's about it. So anyway, those are the main topics right now. We've got over 100 people in here now, so before we continue on, I want to say real quick, thank you everybody for coming out tonight. We're going to be doing a lot more of these as the season starts to accelerate, but before we continue on talking about the Seahawks, to the 100-ish people in here, I want to say, please like the stream if you haven't already. We've got 22 likes right now. Likes help with the visibility of these streams, helps with the visibility of the channel. You can become a channel subscriber by clicking on the subscribe button if you're new. We are 37 subscribers away from our goal, our monthly goal, and we have less than a week left in the month. So we should get there, even though I don't know how many videos and streams are going to be posted in the next few days. But we're right on the cusp. I think we're going to get to 9,000 by the end of the month. You can also become a channel member. We're down to 93 channel members because I haven't been streaming very much lately, but things are going to pick up now. So if you want to become a channel member, it only costs $2 or $5 a month. Just click the join button down below, and you can become a member. That gives you access to emojis. There are a handful of other perks as well. Get your name in the video descriptions and the preload of the daily morning video. Not the preload, but the pre-screen. So we also have donations. We take donations in the form of super chats through YouTube and tips through Stream Elements. So if you want a super chat, click the dollar button next to the chat. We're setting a super chat goal at $25 for the stream. See if we can get there. And we also have a tip goal of $25 as well. I will say that tips are generally better, but whatever way you can make it happen, go ahead and make it happen. Your support is appreciated. And with all that being said, let's keep on going. We're going to go until about 7:30 tonight, I think. We're going to go until about 7:30, and hopefully we'll get all the things we need to say out. So I'm now going to start fielding some comments in the chat. I'm going to get to as many as I can. I may not be able to get to all of them, but I think we'll be okay tonight because there aren't a ton of people here yet. Thoughts on Kyler Murray's film study clause? It's pretty funny, right? I think it just goes to show that he's not going to live up to that contract. Like, there's no way. He already has all these limitations as a player, and he's not a bad player, but you look at something like that and you just go, how can he possibly live up to that deal? Adam Rodriguez, yeah, that's one of the USFL guys we're bringing in, right? I don't think there's a ton of room for pass rushers on this team unless they play on the line in a 3-4, which is a hard sell. I want to write it out with Locke. He's young and he looks hungry. Yeah, it's more entertaining than Gino for sure, so I'm good with that. It's not a big deal, but I'd rather see Locke. But I think we're going to get to see both this year. Mark Sanchez with the Niners saying that it's Lance's team. Do you think we sign Jimmy if he is released? No, I don't. If they release Jimmy, it's going to be some time from now, presumably, and we're already going to be deep into training camp, so it's too late. We've already done training camp work. David Pugh just stopped in to say, I appreciate all your hard work for these videos and streams. Also, your PS2 God of War tier list placing was spot on. Yeah. Yeah, if you guys know video games at all, you guys might enjoy the video I posted this morning. It was every PlayStation 2 game tier list. Took like 4.5 hours. The actual stream took like 5. Robert, do you think the Seahawks could use more talent at receiver? I mean, you can always use more talent, but I think that's low on the list of priorities. We got to figure out what some of our young guys are. I'm not enamored with Freddie Swain, but I don't have a problem with him at the number 4. And even if I did, Bo Melton's intriguing, and honestly, so is Derek Young, and we have other guys waiting in the wings as well. Jimmy John, do you take Bitcoin for tips? I would love to. I don't think very many people would be into that, though. I could I could post my Bitcoin wallet link, but I don't think very many people would, although right now, I mean, things aren't going super well in those circles right now. Cozart, how do you think Adams will fare in this new defense? Oh, I think he's going to be better. He is much better in a defense like this, a 3-4 hybrid defense, than he was in that cover 2. It was beyond idiocy to trade for Jamal Adams and then try to run a basic cover 2 to cover 3 defense where he just has to play coverage running backwards all the time. That was inexcusable that it happened at all, but at least we're moving past it now. But I think Adams is going to be much closer to the Jets version of Jamal Adams. And doing that will allow people to understand better things about what kind of player he is. He is a good player in coverage. This reputation that he's terrible in coverage, people calling him Blitz Boy, it's really born of people just over-exaggerating every little thing that they see over the course of a game. The metrics all say he's not bad in coverage, and that's with him playing a role that he is not suited for. Daddy, front office saying you need to study more to be better and yet pays him the second highest salary man. The NFL is in a bad habit of paying subpar quality premium dollar. Yeah, Daddy, that's what I'm saying. That's what I've said, been saying for a while now. The only thing that can save NFL teams is an influx of quarterback talent. If you got like 40 good quarterbacks in the league, like genuinely good quarterbacks who can run an offense, then you can start going the other way and say, why would we pay you $50 million when there are 7 other quarterbacks I can go get right now, and I can just go pick the lowest bidder and can feel like I have a pretty good quarterback. So Right now, quarterbacks that are even better than average have teams over a barrel, and you're seeing that with Kyler. I think that's part of the reason why you moved on from Wilson. You recognized that he had you over the barrel once you got to those contract extensions, and you decided you weren't going to play that game because you weren't fully confident he was a top 3 quarterback anymore. We'll see if it works out. Meta Shadow, is there any chance you think our running game and O-line play can carry this team to some extent this year? I'm not expecting the O-line to be that good, and especially in pass blocking, because we're starting 2 rookies at tackle in all likelihood. We're definitely starting Cross, and I think we're going to start Lucas as well. So I'm not expecting them to be great. I'm expecting them to actually be near the bottom of the league, especially in pass blocking. Maybe they can be decent in run blocking, but I don't think the offensive line is carrying us. Austin Roberts, thank you for the member message. Glad Carson retired. It was for the best. I have to agree, yeah. I have to agree. We've talked about it a lot this offseason, but I felt like bad things were going to happen if he stuck around. Liquid Sherigan question, how long until the Elder Manning's boy hits NFL draft capable? It's either 2025 or 2026. I can't remember. But it's a ways off. We can't think about that yet. Solid career. Yeah, Carson, look, he had over 5,000 yards from scrimmage in the NFL. Had 30 plus touchdowns in 5 years. Pretty good, especially because he missed a ton of time. Robert, besides QB, what's the Hawks' biggest question mark? Maybe center. Maybe center. Maybe cornerback, but I feel better about cornerback. But it is a question mark. Jeff, is Mafe going to start game 1? I don't think so. I don't think he should. I still look at Mafe as a relatively raw player. He didn't play a ton in college. He was viewed as more of like an athlete rather than a extremely polished, ready-to-go player. I'm not expecting a ton from Mafe in year 1, and there's nothing wrong with that. Meow Mix, not sure if covered already, but Henderson is reporting that DK will report. Yeah, we talked about that, Meow Mix. I don't expect him to participate, and I think that's fine. I don't care about him participating before he gets paid. I understand why he wouldn't want to. I don't have a problem with that. T-Man, do you think Cade Johnson will ever make the team, or do you think he'll always be a practice squatter? He probably won't ever make the team, but I kind of wish he would because I like him, and I feel like there's something there. I feel like there's something there with him. But we're pretty deep at receiver, so it's not super important right now, admittedly. And Mari, what do you think our record will be? I say like 7-10. That's what I say right now. It could easily. I think it's more likely to be worse than better, but that's my read. Apex, for all the Seahawks fans who wondered why we took Walker, here is your answer. Looks like that pick was a great one. Can't believe those fans didn't see this coming. I think most fans did see it coming. They just didn't want to take a running back in the second round. I think people are taking the analytics stuff a little too far. Like, yeah, you don't want to spend top 5 picks on a running back pretty much ever. But when you get into the lower first and second round, it's fine. If the guy's good. Daryl, people keep questioning why we aren't getting these mid QBs to be mediocre. Oh, I see what you're saying, Daryl. Yeah. People need to talk about something, I guess. Yeah, Austin, I'm going to fix the channel member badges. I'm going to have to do it manually. Mark Sanchez, thank you for the member message. Now that Carson is retired, what chances do you give Walker of being Offensive Rookie of the Year? I feel like Penny's going to play too much for that to happen. And they always give it to a quarterback. They always give it to a quarterback who plays decently. Like, remember when Dak and Zeke were rookies? And Zeke, I think, led the league in rushing. And they still gave it to Dak because he was a quarterback and he was playing okay. It's ridiculous. So I don't know who that quarterback is going to be. I guess it could only really be Kenny Pickett. But I don't think Walker's going to get enough touches to have an easy path to Offensive Rookie of the Year. But I think he'll be efficient, and that's more important. Kyler, Tommy Pickles, Murray. Yeah, there is something up there, right? Like, he doesn't seem like a great leader right now. I don't know if this was true or not, but it was reported after the Rams playoff game that he refused to go back in the game at the end when the team was trying to get him to go back in. I don't know if that's true or not, but the game was over and he was tired of getting hit. So he was just like, no, I'm not going back out there. Go to hell. If that's the last interaction he had with the Cardinals coaching staff before their season ended, then it's even worse that they paid him. Hey, Jake. No problem, Jeff. Chase Stern, thank you for the member message. I really hope we don't trade for Jimmy G. Yeah, I've been over that one. That's not interesting to me at all. Do you think this, Daryl? Do you think this roster can make the playoffs next year with an average QB play from a rookie quarterback? A few things have to go right, but sure. I think you got to be a little better than average. Apex Savage, considering Baker went for a bag of Funyuns and used condom, we should have traded for him. It's clear what direction Pete and John want to go in. Yeah, I mean, what's wrong? I don't think there's anything wrong with that, though. I think Baker would have made them a couple wins better, but still not good enough to win a Super Bowl, so who cares? I think that's the right mentality to have. We could have had Liquid Sherrigan. We could have had Nick Chubb. Yeah, apparently Nick Chubb didn't fit our blocking scheme at the time with Schottenheimer, but I don't think Penny fit the Schottenheimer scheme either, so I don't know where that came from. Daddy the bestest. I hope 3-14 season and snag a top QB and center next year and then go from there. I'm not against it. Herbert 6-11. Yeah, that's the right range, I think. It's somewhere in there. Meow Mix Baker was forcing his way out of Cleveland. Maybe he didn't want to go to the Hawks. Yeah, that is true. We know from what he said on the, I think it was the podcast he did with, who's the former punter dude who does the podcast now? I think he played for the Colts. What's his name? Somebody out there knows who I'm talking about. He kind of indicated that Pat McAfee. He kind of indicated he wasn't that interested in playing for Seattle. He didn't sound enthusiastic about it. So that's another reason why you don't get him. Chase Stern, it feels like the Jets don't get nearly as much crap for taking Breece Hall. Oh, I think Breece Hall's better than Kenneth Walker. I like Breece Hall more. So I kind of get that. But at the same time, like, if you're going to make the analytics argument, then yeah. Although, they're Jets, Jets fans are probably giving their own team a lot of crap. I mean, they're New Yorkers. They kind of get a little surly about everything. Costa Rican, last year they gave it to Jamar by the grace of God. Maybe one of the receivers gets it this year. Yeah, it's always possible, but I don't think Walker's going to get enough touches. Herbicide, I'm hoping to get a nose tackle and defensive end in the first and pick up a QB in the second. I think the defensive end need is not, nose tackle need is not as big when you have Monet locked up. I think marrying yourself to Monet a little bit lessens that need. And we'll see if it ends up working out or not. I think it's got a pretty good shot of working out, but I don't think you need to spend a first-round pick on another one. Austin Roberts, they gave Offensive Rookie of the Year to Herbert instead of Justin Jefferson. Yeah. Herbert only played he didn't even play the full season, I don't think. He played most of the season. To be fair, if Dak was on any other team, he would have not gotten Rookie of the Year, and it would have been Zeke. Well, yeah, but they were both on the same team, so being on one particular team should not change anything. Zeke was clearly more important to that team, and he was clearly a better player, and he played better, so it's a joke. Jacob Miles, do you like the idea of tanking for Stroud or Bryce Young? Well, I don't really believe in tanking. I think we're going to be bad without tanking. We don't need to try to lose games. But I like Stroud. I don't like Bryce Young that much yet. We'll see. We'll see if he changes my mind. Do you want to take a QB in the first or second round next year, Herbicide? It depends on who's there. Way too early for me to answer that, but I would assume first round. The Tez, what do you think about potentially drafting that UCLA power running back if he falls into the bottom third of the second to sometime in the third? I don't know much about him. I haven't looked at running backs in next year's draft, and I probably won't that much because we just drafted Kenneth Walker. Robert Jorgensen, do you see a big year for Noah Fant this year? I don't know. How big is a big year? I don't think he's going to have 1,000 yards. I think he'll have a career year. He almost kind of has to. Unless we just never throw him the ball. Yes, Daniel, I noticed that. That was pretty good. I don't know what to say about it, but it's Madden, by the way. Who gives a rip? I understand the players care, but who plays Madden now? If you play Madden, that's weird. Like find something else to do with your time than play a terrible franchise that is purposefully sandbagging itself to make people spend more money. Yeah, Mask. Eason came in for Wentz and threw a pick on the first play. I remember that. Liquid Sherigan, but Herbert was a monster. He had like 3,000 yards. Yeah, I mean, obviously Herbert's a phenomenal quarterback, but I don't think he's. I think Justin Jefferson probably should have won Rookie of the Year that year. David Pugh, you and Hawksnest streaming this week, my guy? Yes, we are going to stream this week. We actually have things to talk about. I think it's going to be on my channel, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure it's on this channel. Seahawks Jose Rodriguez, I find it annoying that people use analytics for everything. There's probably a point where you need to turn away from the analytics, but I do think that overall it's helped the game into a smarter place. It is helping the game move into a more intelligent place where people are making decisions based off data rather than just gut checks. Noah, if the chance presents itself, would you be fine with getting Will Anderson with the first round pick and then jump up a few spots again for a QB next draft? Anderson looks to be a freaking beast. I'm open to it. But we're going to have to see which quarterbacks end up intriguing me the most this college season because I'm going to be watching a lot of college football this year. Costa Rican, I just play Madden one-on-one with my friends. That's probably a little better than anything else you could be doing. It's better than MUT, better than the crappy franchise mode or the My Player mode. I guess that's about the only thing you could possibly do in Madden that's fun. No problem, David. See you later. I understand that take on Madden when you aren't good at it. It can be less fun. It's even if you're good at it, it's still a bad game. Like Madden used to be good. I talked about this a bunch on Sunday in my PS2 stream. Madden 05 was great. I think Madden 05 was the best Madden. And ever since then, it's been a race to the bottom. They don't even try with their franchise mode anymore. Basically, all they care about is MUT, and every other game mode is a complete afterthought. It's a joke. Sham Sajir Overwatch 2. I don't play Overwatch, man. I don't know anything about that. Why do they need to make a sequel to Overwatch? Isn't it like a Fortnite type game? Just keep putting new content in the original game. Austin, I agree. It's so annoying. That's why Chargers went 9-8. Their coach rode short bus. Yeah, I mean, he'll learn. He'll learn. I think he took the analytics stuff a little too far last year. But we all got to start somewhere. Liquid Sherigan, Madden will never be good because 2K can't produce any NFL games. Yeah, if they had competition. If they had some competition, maybe they would actually be forced to produce a more playable game. But we're getting off topic here, guys. So we've gone for about 30 minutes, a little more than 30 minutes now, I think. Yeah, a little more than 30 minutes. So 150 people in here right now, by the way. Please like the stream if you haven't already. Sub to the channel if you're new and you want daily Seahawks content. Become a channel member for $2 or $5 a month. And you can donate to support via Super Chat in YouTube or the tips via Stream Elements, which you can do via the link in the stream description. Mark Sanchez, thank you for getting the Super Chat started today with the $10 Super Chat. Thanks for everything you do in Madden 06 was the best. Vince Young cover. 06 was McNabb. 08 was Vince Young, I think. So I played 05 and I played a little bit of 07, but I only played it because it had Sean Alexander on the cover. And then I played, I think, 09. And I can't even remember who was on the cover of 09. But I played that one a decent amount on PS3. But I remember my quarterback in 09 was Vince Young. Amari Taylor, you heard about Dabo talk about DJ. He still believes in DJ. And he said he was dealing with a finger injury and he didn't have his weapons. I have my eye on DJ. So far, he hasn't done anything to impress me, but I have my eye on him. We'll see what he does this year. Penny or Walker? What do you mean, Justin? Like, oh, Favre was 09. Thank you. God, I don't remember that at all. That seems hilarious now. Anyway, well, I think Penny will start, but I think Walker is going to be the long-term running back here for the remainder of his rookie deal. Um, Bro, you went to my main topic gaming. Don't blame me for beating up a poor franchise. Yeah, Liquid, if you haven't already, you should see my PS2 video I posted this morning. This is off topic, but Jamal is walking on thin ice with that Astros hat. He's from Texas, right? I guess he can't help it, but, you know, the optics there are not great. I agree. Salute, Brendan. The Bucks got Julio Jones from Wilbert. I saw that. Well, let's be real here. Odds are good he gets hurt again. He can't stay healthy. I wanted to get him last year. I thought it was going to be an interesting opportunity for us to supercharge our offense. And he went to Tennessee, and very quickly I was like, well, that's why you don't get Julio Jones. You can't stay healthy, so thank God. Ian Harper, does the Walker pick look a lot more appealing now that Carson retired? I don't think it changes it that much. Even if Carson came back, he was only going to be here a year. Right? Like, think about it. If Carson came back for another year, next year, I think the third year of his deal is fully non-guaranteed, so he's going to get out of here, or it's mostly non-guaranteed, so he's not going to see that. And then Penny is going to be a free agent as well. I don't think we're bringing him back. So I think that the Walker pick holds up regardless. I don't think Carson. I mean, look, you're not drafting Walker for this year. You're drafting Walker for the next 4 years in totality. So the fact that you got him and that you are the fact that you are now maybe giving him a slightly bigger role because you don't have Carson is not really the key point here. The key point is that you have Walker at a cheap rate for the next 4 years. Julio, Costa Rican, Julio's hamstrings are made of cotton candy. I would like to see him win a ring. Yeah, I don't see him having a big impact. Him and Mike Evans can give each other massages on the bench when they're like working through the 800 ankle and hamstring injuries that they're going to have this year. I used to love Mike Evans. I actually wanted the Seahawks to try to trade for him at one point, but he cannot. He's always playing at like 75%, and you can tell. Liquid Sherigan, do we let Walker leave after those 4? Who knows? It depends on what he does. It depends on what he's getting offered. It depends on your situation as a team. Like, what if next year we draft some random running back in the 6th round and he turns into Emmitt Smith? Then we would probably, or 2 years from now, or 3 years from now. You get what I'm getting at here? Like, it depends on where we are. But usually you don't want to pay running backs, so probably. Jacob Miles, Bobby Wagner has been the leader of our defense for a while. Is Jordan Brooks the guy now, or is it Adams, Diggs? That's something that needs to happen organically, I think. But I'm guessing it's going to be Jamal Adams because he has that personality. It might be Brooks. I think it would be one of those two guys. I'm going to guess Adams, but we're going to let that situation play out organically. Chase Stern, thank you for the $5 super chat. It seems like this upcoming QB class is about as strong as the last one was weak. It's a very good quarterback class right now, but some of those guys are going to crash and burn this season. So I think we need to make sure we keep tabs on players before we crown them. Mass Temple, I think the Saints are going to be really good. I don't know about Dennis Allen as a head coach. Last time he was a head coach, it didn't go well. He's obviously a great defensive mind, but I don't know about him as a head coach. I think that's a gamble. But otherwise, it should be a good team. I mean, we know they have Tampa Bay's number. Costa Rica and I have a love-hate relationship with Mike Evans, mostly because of fantasy. Yeah, he just keeps getting hurt. He's super talented, got great ability, but he cannot stay healthy. So what are you going to do? But he usually plays through the injury, but it also hampers him. So, goes back and forth. Ian Harper, did you hear about the film study clause in Murray's contract? That's a massive red flag. Yeah. It's pretty funny, too. If I were him, I would be embarrassed that it became public knowledge that that was in my contract. And I think it does illuminate the fact that it's going to be very hard for him to live up to that contract because he's just doesn't seem like he's driven the way you would want your quarterback to be. T-Man, I think Pete already said Brooks was going to be the signal caller. That sounds about right. I think that makes the most sense. Maybe Jamal Adams ends up being like a Earl Thomas, where he's not the leader, but the energy of the defense comes from him. So I don't see Schneider getting fired, but how long until Pete gets relieved of his duties? It's going to be at least a couple years. And honestly, I don't even know if it's going to happen then. We're in a minor rebuild right now. We got to ride it out. I don't see any kind of firing in his imminent future. He's also way too volatile. He might get you 50 one week and then get you 50 the next. He has lost me 2 championships. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of players are like that, though, if we're being honest. Oh, hey, Cheeseburger, what's up, man? Much like Cam did, Jamal plays all over the field, too. He could very easily step into that leadership role, lining up guys, etc. You would hope so. If he's going to make all that money, he should be playing that role. Kyler Murray just be playing video games with his FaZe clan. I mean, I like video games, too, so who am I to hate? Evan Jackson, you think DK will stay? Yeah, at this point, I think trading him would be silly. You do it during the draft or you don't do it. So it's I don't think the offers have gotten like astronomically better since the draft. So I think overpaying him a little bit is better than trading him for a crappy haul. So I think DK is getting upped in the next couple days. That's my read. Wittimus, which position battles are you most excited for in camp this year? Right tackle, cornerback. That's mostly it. Those are the top 2, I guess. Liquid, I don't think Adams as impactful as Chancellor. Well, Cam was a significant piece of one of the greatest defenses of all time. Jamal hasn't even been part of a one great defense yet, so he's got to do that. Yeah, Sir Cheeseburger. Good to see you around. I think I saw you on Twitter, Cheeseburger. I'm not sure. I think I saw you on Twitter, though. Hey, Bash Gordon, what's up? I feel Jordan Brooks has already cemented himself as the defensive leader for the simple fact that, I mean, he had an awesome season last year and Bobby was here. Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of tackles last year. I don't think it was an awesome year. He's got to get better in some areas. He's still a big black hole in coverage in the bad way. Although this year that shouldn't matter as much because he won't be doing it as much. And he doesn't add much as a pass rusher, which in a 3-4 defense might matter a little bit more than it did last year. But I think he has the ability to be a good pass rusher. He's just got to do it. Excuse me. Empower Code, still unsure about Trey Brown's role in this defense. Where does he line up? He might end up in the nickel. He's versatile enough to play inside or outside. Maybe he ends up inside. If Kobe, Tariq, and Sydney all pan out as good outside corners now and in the future, maybe Trey Brown's role becomes an inside corner. Kind of salty we didn't get Baker, but hey, Gino kind of puffed off, so maybe. Yeah, I just don't think... I don't think that Baker would have made this team radically better. I just don't. Empower Code, also, do you think Artie Burns can push for a corner spot, especially considering his background with Desai? Oh, yeah, he can. I just don't think he's going to start. I think he will be a reserve player at best. And I can see that happening, but I'm not super enthused about him. But he's making so little money, it's fine. Like it's not like when you gave Kerry Williams $7 million to be useless. It's not like that. Noah, at the Jets, Jamal was often freelancing without direct job every play. Do you expect we copy that a bit, or do you think the scheme change by itself is enough to unlock him again? You should be using him like the Jets did as much as possible when you think about it, right? What he did with the Jets is why you traded for him, so why not tell him to do those things again? But I think letting him play downhill, letting him play in the box, letting him not cover deep down the field is going to be significant. Mass Temple, I want to see Cup versus Trey Brown in the slot. Yeah. I mean, Trey Brown played good last year, but it's probably going to be a little bit of a tough year for him because he's rehabbing. Um, Amari Taylor, Trey Brown, and Kobe Bryant and Tariq Woolen is going to be the next great trio of CBs. Yeah, that sounds believable to me. Woolen can go one way or the other, but that's fine. Desert Bear, welcome to the channel. Thank you for the subscription. We got ourselves a new subscriber. Desert Bear, welcome aboard. I mean, Jamal Adams and Cam Chancellor don't even really play the same, so I mean, the comparison doesn't work on any level. In no way, shape, or form is Jamal Cam Chancellor, but I really like his go-get-him hardcore attitude and his skills. In time, he could be as good, but can he lead a number 1D to the dance? I mean, there was so much that went into the number 1D that went to the dance with Cam. I mean, Cam was not even the best player on that defense. He wasn't even the best safety on that defense, so there's a lot that goes into that. Mass Temple, Artie Burns and Sidney Jones are probably the starters as of right now, but I'd rather throw in Woolen over Burns because we're not doing anything this year anyway. I would wonder if throwing Woolen out there would kill his confidence. I wonder if maybe you want to play things a little more cautiously with him. Maybe you don't want to put him out there in year 1 to get beat up. It depends on how fast he develops. So I'm on the fence on that one. Sir Cheeseburger, pretty likely they've been holding off DK's extension until the rest of his class gets theirs to ensure he is the highest paid of his classes. 26 million would give him 1 million above AJ. So that's a given. I don't know why we would do that. I don't know why we would care if he's the highest paid. Like, that's a ego thing if DK cares about that a lot. And I don't know why he would. I mean, if he gets 25 million, that's 25 million. That's pretty big. If he's the kind of guy who's going to be all pissy because he didn't get an extra 100 grand so he could be number 1 over his old buddy AJ Brown, then that would make me start to wonder about him as kind of a diva. Like the stuff he does right now, I don't think that makes him a diva. But if he's actually somebody who would throw a fit because he didn't get to be number 1 over AJ Brown by like 100K, then who cares about that? Like if you care about that, I think that's a problem. Tariq Woolen has superstar potential. Yes, he does, Amari Taylor. Mass Temple, let's flip Burns for a 5th like we did Witherspoon. I wonder if you could pull that off again. I mean, that actually ended up being a pretty decent exchange for us. 5th round picks are no joke. Rafe Morcone 7, how do you think Quandre Diggs will be this year after the injury? I think he'll be fine. I think most of his skills will translate despite the injury. Everything I'm hearing about his rehab has been positive, so I'm not worried about Diggs at this point. Widemus, I really do think Kobe is going to get some playing time early on since he was a 4-year starter. Yeah, I think he might start week 1. I think it's possible. Eminently possible he starts week 1. Liquid, no team cares about whether you're the highest paid player. They want to give you the cheapest deal possible. Yeah, I mean, this is a business on both ends. Like I've always said, I have no problem with players trying to get as much money as they can. But by that same token, I have no problem with teams trying to pay as little money as they can. Like every dollar they don't spend on this player is a dollar they can spend on another player. So it's always this give and take back and forth. For real, that's crazy that Cam wasn't even the star on that defense. Yeah, I mean, Sherman and Earl, I think, were both better. I think Wagner was better. You could argue that Bennett was better. I don't know if he is. So it's just a stacked defense. It is what it is. I seriously doubt he cares, but his agents definitely will push the issue. I mean, it's a silly thing to grandstand over. I understand wanting as much money as possible, but I don't understand saying I want this amount of money because it's $1 more than what this guy got. Remember John Schneider's response to Tannehill getting like 90 some odd mil deal when he's negotiating Wilson's deal? Well, yeah, that's kind of the thing, right? Like if Tannehill's getting that kind of money, then Wilson probably should be getting a lot more money, but That's the slippery slope you fall down. That's why you gotta, eventually you have to say no more. And we said no more. Empower, thoughts on the new tight end we signed? I don't think he makes the 53 man. There's no room. We are, unless we're going to get rid of Colby Parkinson, I guess, which we could, but I don't think he has any room. Scott Nina, hey Brandon, how comfortable are you with the OL group going into the season? I don't think it's going to be a very good offensive line, but I'm high on the potential of some of the pieces, so I have no problem with it. It's going to be a struggle, but we've got two rookies that I really like. You've got some guards that I like, and center we'll worry about next year, I guess. Bash, I'm pretty sure what's going on in the war room over DK's contract is DK is like, so can we meet somewhere around 50 million? Bash, that better not be the case. If that's the case, no way. All right, Julio, home run. Let's go, baby. I don't think he's asking for, anyway, DK, he's not, there's no way he's asking for 50 million. That's almost double what the top receivers are making. Like, it's definitely not that. But, I mean, if he could get it, he probably would ask for it, but there's no way. Mask, having 6 tight ends makes sense in training camp if we're going to be running a lot of 12 personnel. Yeah, like he can make the 90 man. He can be there in the preseason and training camp, but I don't think he's going to make the 53 man. The Tez, ideally, I think the best combo of scheme, role, and plus minus play game exposure would be to use Jamal in a Troy Polamalu type role with some solidly incorporated Dick LeBeau 3-4 zone blitz principles. I think that's what we're moving towards. It's not going to be Dick LeBeau, obviously. It's going to be a little different. But it is going to be more like that. Jesus. Yeah, I don't think Cliff Averill was better than Cam Chancellor. The thing with Bennett is that he moved inside on passing downs and held up. Watching Quandre Diggs this year, I'm loving his Doug Baldwin-esque attitude. I've never really noticed that from Quandre, but I mean, you could argue he's been our best player on defense since he got here 2.5 years ago. 2.5 years ago, like over the last 2.5 years, Bobby's been good, but he's also had. I thought his 2019 was actually kind of bad, and he wasn't adding value in certain areas over the last several years. Well, okay, I'll say last couple years. We didn't have any one dominant pass rusher over that 2.5 year span. Like Dunlap basically took most of last season off anyway. Like Quandre Diggs might be our best defensive player since he got here. Evan, the chemistry between Drew Lock and Noah could be dangerous with a new and better coaching staff for Drew. He could be decent or even good. I'm not ruling it out. I doubt it. Ran in the cut. I'm thinking the DK deal will get done soon after the camp starts, like Jamal. Yeah, we for some reason really like to do that. For some reason we really like to do that. I don't know why. I'd really be interested to see if they could explain why they do things like that. Hey David. Noah, speaking of DK's potential / new contract, have you seen Shannon Sharp's podcast with DK talking about his diet, getting a nutritionist to get to the next level? Can you see a diet having that much impact? Yeah, should be a pretty good diet. Should be a pretty impactful diet. But no, I don't listen to Shannon Sharp's podcast. I don't listen to any of those guys. Scott Nina, how many first picks we have next year? 2. If we end up with the 2 top 5 picks, who would you like to get? I don't think that's happening unless Wilson's leg falls off. But there are some quarterbacks I really like who are probably going to go in that range, like Levis. Will Anderson's very interesting. CJ Stroud's interesting. If KJ Jefferson has a monster year, he might end up in the top 10. Liquid, we don't waste that much money doing it, but I'm just wondering what the benefit is. Like, logically speaking, there's a benefit, right? If you're doing it, it must be beneficial to you in some way, or else you wouldn't be doing it. I personally would like to see Jamal Adams play that pure Kenny Easley 1980 Seahawks style where he roamed around like a linebacker and struck fear into the hearts of all who oppose him. Yeah, you do have to let Jamal improvise a little bit more than we were. It's just ridiculously boneheaded the way in which we decided to utilize Jamal last year. It's still hard for me to understand why we decided on that, but the important part is that we are moving on from it now. Hopefully, we can turn two second round picks into an extra first round. That's a possibility. The Jets did that, didn't they? They had 3 first round picks in this most recent draft, so sure. Ooh, Eugenio got the call. Maffei and Taylor on the edge is going to be scary. I'm excited for both. I'm excited for both. I don't think Maffei is going to have a big year this year. I think Nwosu is going to start, but sure. Cheeseburger, have you made it down to the ballpark this season? No. My parents have, but somebody has to stay to watch the dog. So it's been me. We have a young dog. We cannot leave her home alone. So somebody has to stay home, and so far it's been me. I did make it to the AAA games, the Tacoma Rainiers. I am going to go to a Mariners game at some point this year, I think, but have not made it yet. It's a huge pain to get up there for me. I really don't like doing it that often. Check. Seahawks are being criminally underrated by media. They have been comparing them to the 0-16 Browns. I haven't really seen that. I haven't seen that comparison. The 0-6, I mean, God. We are good in some areas. We're good at safety. We're good at wide receiver. We're, I think, pretty good, at least at tight end, linebacker. There are just some areas where we're not. We should be able to ride some of the things about this team that are good. Liquid, no, it's not up there yet. It's not that bad yet, Liquid. It's getting there, but it's not there yet. Hey, Josh. We're going 6-11. 6-11 is very believable. I have us beating the Raiders. That's my upset. My main upset is us beating the Raiders, but if we don't, then I'll be right there with you. Thank God. God, you know, it takes less time for me to ban these idiots than it does for them to log into their account and start posting. That's what I don't understand. You are working harder to irritate me than I am to get you out. You are wasting more time than I am getting you out of here. Geno Smith and Russell Wilson had the same PFF grade for 2021. Yeah, I mean, well, Russell had terrible games. Russell had several terrible games. He also had some really great games. Geno was just kind of hanging around in the middle in most of the games he played. I mean, the Saints game, not so much. But even in that game, he avoided turnovers. So that's not going to be a terrible PFF grade, even though he really didn't get it done in that game. You know how hard it is to go 0-16? Like, that's not easy. And but for the record, even if it would get us the number one pick and all that, I don't want to go 0-16 or 0-17 because if you go 0-17, that means the pieces on your roster that you're excited about are probably terrible. Because any team that has anything to be excited about at all should be able to win a few games. So even though it would guarantee us the number one pick, I don't want that. I want to be very clear about that. EBK waived, yeah. I mean, I kind of feel bad for him because he was actually a good special teams player and then he got the fluke injury, but it's not like it's going to make a huge difference on anything, so whatever. Do you think Carson could come back on the coaching squad or some type of role? Maybe. I don't know if he has the desire to do that. Coaching is not easy, and sometimes it's not fun. Like, sometimes you get these players, these former Seahawk players, everybody's like, oh, it's a former Seahawk player. Please become a coach. You'd be so good as a coach. It's like, how can we possibly know that? And leave him alone. Let him, like, retire. Let him enjoy retirement. Coaching is Coaching is hard. Coaching is unpleasant. Do you know how bad the hours are? Like how many hours a week do you think coaches work during the season? Like head coaches, let's say head coaches. They've got to at least be 100 hours. Bubba Bolden is intriguing as a UDFA. Gotta wonder if he has an outside shot at beating out a Ryan Neal or Marquise Blair. I don't think so. Not those two guys. Ooh, Kyle Lewis. That's going to score a run. All right, Kyle Lewis, welcome back, buddy. Let's go. Remember Bill Parcells talking about how he had to give up everything to come back to coaching. He had to divorce his wife. It just lost everything to continue to be a head coach. He did it because he loved the game, but like not everybody's going to want to do that. It's actually great news to hear that even before Carson's official retirement, Penny was predicted to be the lead back. And the fact that news was coming in, Penny standing out among the others. Yeah, I think the thing to keep in mind here with Penny is that he's probably not going to be here next year. So you can ride him hard so he can go get that money somewhere else. And you don't have to worry about running him into the ground necessarily because you're probably going to not have him next year. And meanwhile, Kenneth Walker, who is going to be here, you don't run into the ground. All right, so we went for about an hour. I think we talked about everything. Talked about Carson, talked about Metcalf, talked about training camp, talked about some of the training camp battles. I think we did pretty good. Tyreek Smith on the PUP list. I didn't even notice that. Wow. I looked at the PUP list. I didn't see him on there. But I'm not thinking Tyreek Smith's going to play a big role this year anyway. He's like fifth pass rusher. But if Penny gets 1,400 yards, do we keep him? He's going to want a lot of money then, and we just drafted Walker, so no. All right. Another one. That's not going to score a run, though, is it? No, it's not. Okay. All right. Yeah, Kyle Lewis. Good to see him back. Wow, we are coasting against Dunning so far. God, if we leave the bases loaded, though, that's going to hurt, and that's the likely outcome here. If Penny's playing good and healthy after 6 or 7 games, he would make a good trade candidate. Yeah. Yeah, if he's playing good and we're at the deadline and somebody needs a running back, make it happen. All day. When will Haniger be back? Can Ty play second? I don't think Ty can play second. Unfortunately, I think we're stuck with Adam Frazier or Toro because we need a second baseman. Walker or Hall. I still think Hall's a little better, but only because Hall's better on third down. And I think that stuff is really important. But it's easy to overcome. All right. I am going to hop on over to Twitch in a little bit. So if you guys give me a little bit of time here, I'm going to be over on Twitch. I'm streaming Weed Shop for the duration of the Mariners game. And after Weed Shop, I might do some Fire Emblem. So if you guys want to watch me react to the Mariners game, and I'm almost done with Weed Shop, by the way. We're almost at the point where I can't really do anything else. So if you want to pop on over to Twitch, I'll be over there in like probably the next 10 minutes. See you guys there, or see you guys elsewhere. There will be a video in the morning. There will be a probably daily videos or close to now that we're getting into training camp stuff. See you guys later on. Go Hawks, and thank you for making this stream successful as you always do.